I'm Charlie, and this is the Computer and Networking Security course's Lab 7 tutorial. In this one we're going to work with firewalls, turning off some ports and then trying to connect to them. We're going to take some screenshots and send them in to the instructor. Let's get started.
We're going to start this tutorial off on the home page, over to Course Tools and down to the Online Labs link. Then on the Online Labs page we go down to number 7, Lab 7, and we're going to click this link here. That will take us to the Toolwire Live Labs page. We're going to go down to the Lab Access link, and that should take us to this workstation. Once we're here, we need to open up the folder for our Rdp Connections. So let's open up this folder here. We're going to select the first one in the list, which is our target Ubuntu 01 connection. So let's double click on that and open it up. The login information is in the guide. It'll be the same for almost the whole tutorial. Okay, once we're here, the first thing we're going to do is open up a terminal. In order to do that here, let's go up to Applications here in the top left corner. Click on Applications, then go to Accessories, and then down at the bottom here you'll see Terminal. Let's click on this to open the terminal. And then I'm just going to make this bigger here because my screen's kind of small. And the first command we're going to execute is an ifconfig command. Let's spell this properly here. ifconfig -a. That will show us the information of our current adapters. This machine has 2 listed. So you see ETH0 and LO, which is our loopback device, but it's not relevant for this tutorial. So under our ETH0, you will see an INET address, INET ADDR. And this IP address is important, so write this down. You'll need this later, but that's the IP address. So let's go ahead and close this now. We're done with this terminal. And let's minimize this window here and move on to our next connection, which is our target Ubuntu 02. So let's double click on this one and launch that connection. Okay, now we need to edit the firewall configuration. So to do that, we need to go up to the System menu, click on System, go down to Administration, and then down to Firewall Configuration. Let's open this. The same password that you used to log in with. So log in here. Alright, the very first thing we need to do here is we need to enable the firewall because it's disabled. So let's check the box here for firewall enabled. And there we go, it's enabled. Now we need to make sure that we're denying incoming traffic, so click this one if it's not already selected. And then we're going to make some changes to the rules below. So let's go to the Pre-Configured tab. And let's go down here to the left and click on Deny. We're going to deny some FTP traffic. So in this second drop-down list we want to select FTP, and when you click on it you'll see that there's quite a few other protocols there, but let's go ahead and hit Add, and you'll notice that since it's pre-configured it already knows what port and protocol to use. We didn't have to know that ourselves, and so all the ones in that drop-down list will have this pre-configured information. So let's now deny some telnet traffic. Let's go down here and click on Telnet, click Add, and there you go, down there again, port 23, and all that was there for us. Now we're going to continue throughout the rest of these here. So let's actually allow POP3 traffic. And you'll notice there it shows up in red. That lets you know that you are allowing some traffic, kind of jumps out at you. Now the instructions for us to continue to populate this list, I'm going to go ahead and add everything from this drop-down list there, so just so you can see the list being populated here. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, now let's go over to the Simple tab, and in here we actually have to know what we're doing. So let's click on Deny, and we're going to deny a very specific port. So in the text box here, we need to add a port number. So in this case, we are going to add port 7 according to the guide. So in this box, we'll type 7, and then we'll over here select both from the protocols. And if you click this list here, you'll see TCP, UDP, or both. And in this case, we're going to click both, and then click Add, and it will add that to our list below. Now we want to add more protocols. In fact, we're supposed to add many protocols, but I'm going to keep this particular tutorial short, so I'm going to just add one more here. So let's see, we're going to add port 20 to the list here. Right, and just hit add. I'm going to leave denied 20 in both. Alright, and you can tell if, as everything gets put in this list down here, you can click on either the pre-configured or the simple tabs, and you'll notice that it's the same list for both. It's just different ways to populate that list below. So let's just close this. We're done there. We're going to do one more thing. We're actually going to go into the configuration file itself. So go to Applications, Accessories, and open a terminal. And here we're going to use the vi command in order to edit that file. So let's type in sudo for super user do, vi, and let's type out the name of the file here. Since this file is a system administration file, that's why you have to use the super user do command. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter the password, the same password that you used to log in with still. Alright, now once here, it wants you to actually use the arrow keys to find the lines that we're going to comment out. There are other ways to search, but let's go ahead and stick with what's in the guide. So we're going to use the down arrow here and find our ICMP section. Okay, there we go. So let's get back up here to the ICMP codes. And you'll see that most of this information is the same till you get past type here. And you'll see the echo request section right here. This is where we want this particular entire line commented out. And so we need to type I to get into insert mode, and then type a pound sign, and that will comment out this line. Now you want to take a screenshot of this, because we need to turn in a screenshot of this configuration file. And then in order to exit this and save it, so it can apply it, you need to hit the exit key, the escape key, and then a colon, and then WQ. W stands for write, Q stands for quit. So go ahead and hit escape, then type a colon, a W, and a Q. There we go. Hit enter, and you should be completed. So now we're done there. Now we have that configuration file edited. We can close that out. We no longer need the this window open, and you can either go up and hit close up here, and if that doesn't work out for you, you can always go over to the system menu and log out, which is what I'm going to do right here. It won't shut down the system, it will just log you off of it. And just go ahead and hit close here. Okay, so now we need to go back to our first connection. So let's maximize this, our target Ubuntu 01 connection. Let's go back up to Applications, Accessories, and Terminal. And maximize this again. And we're going to look at different commands. So let's go to bmon, which is our bandwidth monitor. And here you'll see the two devices. Let's use the down arrow for ETH0. And then you can hit G and D to activate different information, different statistics. And in this case we hit G, and you can see the actual graph there show up. My screen isn't big enough to also show D, so you'll see down at the bottom it says increase screen size to see detailed statistics. So if you have a larger screen, you can see it. Then take screenshots of all of this. You'll have to turn this in. So take a screenshot of this one. And when you're done, you can hit Q. And whenever you hit Q, it'll ask you if you're sure whether or not you want to quit or not. And just hit Y. So now that's done, let's move on to our next command. And again, we're just going along with the guide. Alright, and enter the same password that you used to log in. Right, and then this takes a second to populate, and you'll see it change bits of information here. But you'll also need a screenshot of this as well, so take a screenshot and be prepared to turn that in. Then we're done, hit Q. Now let's move on to the next one, our PKT stat. And here again, if you wait a moment, you'll see it populate with some information. And you'll also want a screenshot. When you're done, it's Q again to quit. Give it a second to get some data there. And now let's move on to our Iperf command. And this takes a second, then it just finishes up on its own. You don't have to quit out of this one. And go ahead and take a screenshot of all this information here. So this is what you'll have to turn in. Your information may look different from mine, but turn in what you get. Now let's try our TCP track command. Okay, so once you have that in, you hit enter. And there's no traffic yet, so let's generate some traffic here. So we're going to switch back and forth from Firefox back to this window again. And so let's go ahead and launch the Firefox browser. So up here at the top, you'll see the icon. And then you need to input that IP address from earlier, right here. I copied it in a clipboard and just pasted it. And then down here, you need to type DVWA right after the slash here. So let's get that in there. And once that's in there, we hit enter, and it should bring us directly to a login page. And this is where the login differs. It's admin, and the password is password. Click login. And then the first thing that we need to do is go down to the security button, DVWA security. And from the drop-down list, change it from high to low. Then click submit. And you'll see here that the security is set for low. So now we need to go to the XSS reflected button. Click this. And then here you can enter information into this text box. In this case, we're going to type in Simon and hit submit, and you should see it come back, say hello Simon. We're going to generate some more of this traffic here in a moment. So let's go ahead and type in Simon again here. Just go ahead and click it a bunch of times. Now if I bring that down, back here, I'm going to go ahead and get fun with this. Reminds me of the Chipmunks. So we got Simon, Theodore, let's get Alvin in here. And that's it. Pretty simple. So take screenshots of both pages, both the Firefox browser and that terminal, and then quit that when you're finished. And now let's go ahead and close all of this out. So we're done here. Log out. Once again, the updater pops up. Just hit close. We don't need to update these. And now let's go to the Start menu. Click on Run. and type CMD here if it's not already, and click OK. And here we're going to try and ping that system that we set the firewall up on. So let's go ahead and ping it, and you'll notice that no pings come back. In fact, it's timing out. That's a good sign. That means our settings are in effect on that server, on that system. So once that finishes up, we can go ahead and close out that window. You can take a screenshot of that as well, of course. And we're going to go over to the Tftp32 admin icon and go to the Tftp Client tab, and in here go ahead and enter that same IP address. And we'll put the port 69 in here. Go open this button here, go to My Documents if you're not there already, and select this test file. And then go ahead and click on Put, and you'll notice that's not working either. And you get that block number 0 right there. So go ahead and close this. We know that's working as expected. So let's close that out, and now let's go ahead and open up Filezilla. And in Filezilla, we want to go ahead and put in the IP address again. In this case, username is student, and the password is the same from before. So let's put in the password. Our port is going to be 21. Quick connect, and it's not connecting. If you'll see that, it'll time out in a moment. So let's let that time out. Now that this is timed out, you can go ahead and take a screenshot, and once you have a screenshot, go ahead and close this out and move on to the next part. So let's go ahead and open Putty, and in there go ahead and fill in the IP address again, same system. Select SSH here, and if port 22 is not filled in, go ahead and fill that in, and all you have to do is open the connection. So let's go down to the open button, and you'll see it's working. So let's go ahead and log in. We actually allowed this traffic. So let's type the password, and I typed the password wrong, so let me try again. And there we go, we're successful. So take a screenshot of this for turn-in, and turn everything into the instructor, and this concludes our tutorial.
Well, I hope that tutorial was helpful. If you have any comments, suggestions, or if you want to see any other tutorial made, please leave a comment down below or send an email to charlie.tutorials@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.